Before praying, let us read Psalm 34 to 17:18. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. There are moments in life when the path ahead feels unclear, when every direction seems wrapped in fog and the heart quietly asks questions it cannot answer. In those moments, this gentle promise reminds us that we are not abandoned. Even when we feel distant, unsure, or forgotten, God remains near. His presence does not depend on our clarity or strength. Instead, He draws closest when our hearts feel most fragile, when our spirits feel worn, and when we no longer have the energy to pretend we are okay. There is a quiet comfort in knowing that we do not need perfect words, perfect faith, or perfect understanding to be heard. A simple cry, even a silent one, reaches Him. When you feel lost, it is easy to believe that something has gone wrong beyond repair, yet this passage gently shifts that perspective. Being brokenhearted is not a sign of failure. It is often the place where God meets us most intimately. He does not stand at a distance waiting for us to find our way back. He comes close, stepping into our confusion, sitting with us in our uncertainty, and holding us in ways we may not even recognize at first. Sometimes His presence is not loud or dramatic, but soft and steady, like a quiet reassurance that you are still held, still seen, and still deeply loved. As you sit with these words, allow them to settle into your heart like a soft light in a dark room. You do not need to rush to find answers today. You do not need to force direction or clarity. Instead, rest in the truth that God hears you right now, exactly where you are. Even in your questions, even in your wandering thoughts, even in your silent tears, He is listening, and more than that, He is near. Let this be the beginning of a gentle return, not through effort or striving, but through trust. Trust that even in feeling lost, you are being guided in ways you cannot yet see. When the heart feels uncertain, it often searches for something steady to hold on to, something that will not shift with every changing emotion. In these quiet and sometimes overwhelming moments, you may notice how easily your thoughts wander between hope and fear, between trust and doubt. Yet even here, in this gentle tension, there is an invitation to pause rather than rush, to breathe rather than strive, and to remember that uncertainty does not mean you are alone. It simply means you are human, walking through a season where clarity has not yet fully arrived. And in that space, God remains present, quietly faithful, gently attentive to every unspoken concern within you. Sometimes the feeling of being lost is not about direction at all, but about disconnection, a sense that something within you has grown distant or quiet. You may wonder if you have missed a step, taken a wrong turn, or failed to listen closely enough. But God does not measure your journey by perfection. He sees the intention of your heart, the quiet longing to find your way, and the courage it takes to keep going even when you feel unsure. There is no condemnation in His presence, only a steady compassion that meets you exactly where you are. You are not expected to have everything figured out. You are simply invited to stay close, to remain open, and to trust that even your wandering steps are being gently guided. In this season of uncertainty, it may help to release the pressure to immediately understand everything. Not every question requires an instant answer, and not every feeling needs to be resolved right away. Sometimes healing begins when you allow yourself to sit gently with what you do not yet understand. In that stillness, God often speaks in ways that are soft and easily missed if you are rushing. His guidance may come not as a loud answer, but as a quiet reassurance, a small sense of peace, or a gentle shift in your heart. These moments are easy to overlook, yet they are often where true direction begins to unfold. So as you move through this day, carry this quiet truth with you. You are not lost beyond reach. You are held within a love that does not waver, guided by a presence that does not grow tired, and seen by a God who understands even the parts of your story you cannot yet explain. Let yourself rest in that awareness. Let it soften the urgency you feel to figure everything out. And as you continue forward, step by step, trust that clarity will come in its own time, gently, faithfully, and exactly when you are ready to receive it. Even now, there is a quiet work happening within you, something slow and meaningful that cannot always be seen from the outside. Growth often feels hidden while it is taking place, like roots stretching deeper beneath the surface before any visible change appears. You may not notice it right away, but each moment you choose to remain open, each time you turn your thoughts back toward hope, and each gentle prayer you whisper in uncertainty is shaping something beautiful within your spirit. Nothing is wasted, not your questions, not your waiting, and not even your moments of doubt. All of it is being held and transformed in ways you may only understand later. If you listen closely, you might begin to sense a gentle invitation to trust again, not in your own ability to control outcomes, but in God's steady presence that remains unchanged. Trust does not require certainty. It simply asks for a willingness to believe that you are being led, even when the path feels unclear. This kind of trust grows quietly, often in small moments rather than grand decisions. It grows when you choose peace over panic, when you release what you cannot control, and when you allow yourself to rest in the assurance that you are not walking alone. And so let this be a gentle reminder to your heart. You do not need to have all the answers today. You only need to take the next step with a quiet openness, trusting that God is already ahead of you, preparing the way. Even when you cannot see it, He is working. Even when you cannot feel it, He is near. Let that truth settle softly within you and carry you forward with quiet courage, knowing that you are gently being led home. May this awareness bring you calm in the midst of uncertainty, a steady breath within your spirit, and a renewed sense of quiet hope that continues to grow, even in the unknown spaces of your life today, and always with gentle grace surrounding you. In the quiet places of your life, where answers seem distant and the path feels unfamiliar, prayer becomes less about saying the right words and more about opening your heart as it truly is. You do not need to come with certainty or strength. You can come just as you are, carrying your questions, your weariness, and even your doubts. God is not waiting for perfection. He is listening for honesty. And in that sacred honesty, something gentle begins to unfold within you, a connection that does not depend on clarity, but on presence. Even in the wilderness of your thoughts, prayer becomes a soft bridge, leading you back to peace. Let this moment be a quiet turning inward, not to search for answers, but to rest in God's nearness. You may not know what lies ahead, and that uncertainty may feel heavy at times. Yet in this stillness, you are invited to release the need to control every outcome. You are allowed to breathe, to pause, and to trust that even here, in this uncertain space, you are being held. Prayer is not a performance. It is a gentle returning. It is the place where your soul can exhale, where your burdens can be set down, and where your heart can begin to feel light again, even if only a little. Now, let your heart speak softly. Dear God, I come to you just as I am, without answers, without certainty, and without the strength I wish I had. You see the places within me that feel lost, the thoughts that wander, and the quiet fears I try to hide. I do not fully understand what I am walking through, but I trust that you are here with me. Even when I cannot feel you clearly, I believe that you have not left me. Draw close to me in this moment and remind me that I am not alone. Lord, calm the noise within my heart. Where there is confusion, bring gentle clarity. Where there is fear, plant a quiet peace that does not depend on circumstances. Help me to release what I cannot control and to trust you with what I cannot see. Teach me to take each step with faith, even when the way forward feels uncertain. I do not need to know everything. I only need to know that you are guiding me, and that is enough. I declare, even in my uncertainty, that I am held by your love. I declare that my life is not without direction, even when I cannot see the path. I declare that you are working in ways beyond my understanding, gently shaping my journey with purpose and care. I will not let fear define my steps, and I will not let doubt silence my hope. Instead, I choose to trust you, one moment at a time, one breath at a time. Thank you, God, for your patience with me. Thank you for staying near even when I feel distant. Thank you for hearing my quiet prayers and for holding every part of my story with compassion. Help me to rest in your presence today, not striving, not searching, but simply trusting. Lead me gently forward and give me the courage to follow, even when I do not fully understand where the path will take me. As this prayer settles within you, allow yourself to remain in that quiet awareness for a moment longer. You do not need to rush away from this space. Let the peace linger, even if it is small and subtle. Sometimes the most meaningful changes begin in these quiet moments, where nothing seems dramatic, yet everything begins to shift softly within. Trust that this prayer has been heard, not because of the words you said, but because of the sincerity within your heart. And as you continue through your day, carry this gentle assurance with you. You are not walking alone through the wilderness. There is a presence beside you, steady and faithful, guiding you even now. You may not see the full path yet, but you are being led, step by step, with care and intention. Let that truth bring you comfort, and let it renew your strength in quiet, unseen ways. There are seasons in life when trust feels like a quiet step taken in the dark, when you are asked to move forward without the comfort of clear direction or visible outcomes. In these moments, it is natural to hesitate, to long for certainty, and to wish for a sign that everything will be okay. Yet, trust is not built on what you can see. It is formed gently within, in the unseen spaces where faith begins to take root. Even when your path feels hidden, there is a deeper assurance that you are not walking aimlessly. God is present, guiding in ways that do not always reveal themselves immediately, but are steady and true nonetheless. You may find yourself asking questions that have no quick answers, wondering why clarity has not yet come, or why the way forward feels so uncertain. These questions do not push God away. Instead, they draw you closer, inviting you into a relationship that is not based on perfect understanding, but on quiet dependence. Trust grows when you allow yourself to remain in that space without turning away, when you choose to stay open even when your heart feels unsure. It is in this gentle staying that something begins to shift, not always in your circumstances, but within your spirit, where peace slowly begins to replace anxiety. Sometimes, trusting God means releasing the need to control every detail. It means accepting that not everything can be planned or predicted, and that there is a greater wisdom at work beyond your current understanding. This release is not easy. It can feel like letting go of something that once made you feel secure. But in that letting go, you create space for a deeper kind of security, one that does not depend on outcomes, but on God's unchanging presence. You begin to realize that even when you cannot see the path, you are still being led. There is a quiet strength that forms when you continue to trust despite uncertainty. It is not loud or dramatic, but gentle and enduring. It shows itself in small choices, in the decision to keep moving forward, in the willingness to hope again, and in the quiet prayers you offer when words are hard to find. These small acts of trust may seem insignificant, yet they are deeply meaningful. They are the foundation of a faith that is not shaken by changing circumstances, but rooted in something far more stable and lasting. As you walk through this season, remind yourself that not seeing does not mean not knowing. Deep within, there is often a quiet sense that you are being held, even if you cannot explain it. This awareness may come and go, but it is real. It is a gentle reminder that your life is not unfolding randomly, but with intention and care. You are not forgotten, and you are not overlooked. Every step you take is seen, and every moment you endure is understood. When doubt begins to rise, meet it with gentleness rather than fear. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. It is often part of the journey toward a deeper trust. Instead of pushing it away, allow it to lead you back into prayer, back into stillness, and back into that quiet place where God's presence can be felt again. In that space, You may not receive all the answers you seek, but you will find something even more important, a sense of peace that reassures you that you are not alone. So continue forward, even if your steps feel small. Trust does not require you to see the entire path. It only asks that you take the next step with a willing heart. And as you do, trust that God is already ahead of you, preparing what you cannot yet see. He is making a way, even in places that feel uncertain, guiding you with a love that is patient, faithful, and always near. Let this truth rest gently within you today. You are not walking blindly. You are walking by faith, held by a presence that sees far beyond what your eyes can perceive. And in time, what feels unclear now will begin to make sense, not all at once, but slowly and beautifully, as you continue to trust, even when you cannot see. There are moments when life becomes unexpectedly quiet, when the noise fades and what remains feels almost too still. In these spaces, it can feel as though something is missing, as though the absence of clarity or direction means that nothing is happening at all. Yet silence is not emptiness. It is often where the most meaningful work begins, where the distractions fall away and the deeper voice of God becomes easier to hear. This voice is not forceful or overwhelming. It is gentle, patient, and steady, waiting not to interrupt, but to be noticed. When you feel lost, the silence can feel uncomfortable at first. You may be tempted to fill it with distractions, to search for answers quickly, or to move in any direction just to escape the stillness. But there is an invitation hidden within that quiet. It is an invitation to remain, to listen, and to trust that even without visible movement, something sacred is unfolding. God often speaks in ways that are soft and easily missed, not through loud signs, but through a calm assurance that settles deep within your heart. This gentle voice does not rush you. It does not pressure you to have everything figured out. Instead, it reminds you that you are already held, already seen, and already loved. It speaks through small moments, through a sense of peace that appears without explanation, through a quiet thought that brings comfort, or through a subtle shift in your perspective. These moments may seem insignificant, yet they carry a depth that cannot be measured by outward appearances. Sometimes, the silence is where healing begins. When everything slows down, you are able to notice what has been hidden beneath the surface, the fears you have carried, the questions you have avoided, and the longings you have not fully expressed. In this space, God meets you with compassion, not judgment. He does not rush you past these feelings. He sits with you in them, offering a presence that is steady and kind. This is where restoration quietly takes root, not through force, but through gentle care. As you learn to sit in the silence, you may begin to recognize that you are not alone within it. What once felt empty begins to feel full, not with noise, but with a quiet awareness of God's nearness. This awareness does not always come with words. Sometimes it is simply a sense of peace, a calm that settles over your thoughts, reminding you that everything does not have to be understood in order to be held. This is the language of God's presence, soft, steady, and deeply reassuring. You may still have questions, and that is okay. The silence does not always provide immediate answers. Instead, it offers something even more valuable, a foundation of trust that grows slowly and deeply. In this trust, you begin to understand that you do not need to have everything resolved right away. You are allowed to be in process, to be on a journey that unfolds over time rather than all at once. There is also a quiet courage that forms when you choose to remain in the silence. It takes strength to stay present when you do not have all the answers, to resist the urge to rush ahead, and to trust that what is unfolding is meaningful, even if it is not yet visible. This courage is not loud or dramatic. It is gentle and steady, growing within you each time you choose to remain open rather than afraid. As you continue through this season, allow yourself to embrace the silence rather than resist it. Let it become a place of rest rather than discomfort, a space where you can breathe deeply and reconnect with the truth that you are not alone. The gentle voice of God is not far from you. It is near, closer than you realize. speaking softly into the quiet places of your heart. And as you listen, even if you hear nothing at first, trust that something is being formed within you. Trust that the silence is not empty, but filled with presence, with care, and with a love that does not need to raise its voice to be known. In time, what feels quiet now will become clear, not through force, but through the gentle unfolding of God's faithful guidance in your life. Fear often arrives quietly, not always as something overwhelming, but as a subtle tension within your heart, a quiet whisper that asks, "What if things do not work out?" When you feel lost, that whisper can grow louder, filling your thoughts with uncertainty and making each step feel heavier than it truly is. Yet even in the presence of fear, there is another invitation waiting for you, one that does not demand that fear disappear, but gently asks you to loosen your grip on it. You are not required to be fearless in order to move forward. You are simply invited to hold on to faith a little more tightly than the fear that tries to hold on to you. Letting go of fear is not a single moment of release, but a gentle and ongoing process. It happens in small choices, in quiet decisions to trust, even when your heart feels uncertain. You may still feel afraid, and that is okay. Fear does not disqualify you from faith. In fact, it is often in the presence of fear that faith becomes most meaningful. Each time you choose to trust God despite your worries, you are strengthening something deep within your spirit, something steady and enduring that cannot easily be shaken. Sometimes fear comes from the need to control what lies ahead. You may want to know how everything will unfold, to have reassurance that your path will lead exactly where you hope it will. But life does not always offer that kind of certainty. And in that absence, fear can begin to grow. Yet faith invites you into a different way of living, one that is not dependent on knowing every detail, but on trusting the one who sees the whole picture. God does not ask you to understand everything. He simply asks you to trust that He is guiding you with care. As you begin to release fear, you may notice that it does not disappear all at once. Instead, it softens gradually, losing its hold as you continue to return your thoughts to truth. When fear says that you are alone, faith reminds you that God is near. When fear tells you that you are lost, faith gently assures you that you are being led. These quiet reminders may seem small, but they carry a powerful peace that begins to reshape the way you see your journey. Holding on to faith does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means bringing them honestly before God, allowing Him to meet you in the middle of them. You can acknowledge your fears without letting them define you. You can feel uncertain without losing your sense of hope. Faith creates space for both honesty and trust, allowing you to be real about where you are while still believing that something good is unfolding beyond what you can see. There is also a quiet freedom that comes when you begin to let go of fear. It is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of peace within them. You start to realize that you do not need to carry everything on your own, that you are not responsible for controlling every outcome. This realization can feel like a gentle lifting, as though a weight you did not fully recognize has begun to ease. In its place, there is a growing sense of calm, a quiet confidence that you are being cared for in ways that go beyond your understanding. As you continue forward, remind yourself that faith is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting in God's character, His goodness, His faithfulness, and His constant presence in your life. Even when your path feels uncertain, these truths remain unchanged. You are still held, you are still guided, and you are still deeply loved. So today, take a gentle step. Release one small fear into God's hands. You do not need to release everything at once. Just begin with one. And as you do, hold on to faith, even if it feels small. Even the smallest faith, when placed in God's care, becomes something strong and steady. Let that faith carry you forward, not with pressure or urgency, but with a quiet assurance that you are not alone in your journey. And as this truth settles within you, may you find a soft peace rising in your heart, a calm that gently replaces fear, and a steady hope that continues to guide you forward, one faithful step at a time, surrounded by a love that never lets you go. There are times when your soul feels tired in ways that rest alone cannot fully restore. It is a quiet weariness, one that settles deep within your spirit after carrying uncertainty, questions, and unspoken burdens for longer than you expected. In these moments, even small tasks can feel heavy, and the path ahead may seem distant and unclear. Yet this kind of weariness is not something you need to hide or overcome on your own. It is an invitation, gentle and sacred, to come closer to God and receive a strength that does not come from your own effort, but from His presence within you. When you feel weary, it can be tempting to push yourself harder, to try to find strength by doing more or thinking more clearly. But true renewal often begins when you allow yourself to pause. You are not meant to carry everything alone. God understands the weight you have been holding, even the parts you have not expressed in words. He sees the quiet exhaustion, the moments when you have tried to stay strong, and the times when you have felt close to giving up. And in His compassion, He offers you rest that is not just physical, but deeply spiritual. This rest is not about escaping your situation, but about finding peace within it. It is about allowing your heart to settle, even when your circumstances have not yet changed. You may not have all the answers, and your path may still feel uncertain, but in God's presence, you can find a steady calm that begins to restore what has been worn down. This calm does not come all at once. It grows slowly, like a gentle breath returning to your spirit, reminding you that you are safe, that you are held, and that you are not alone. There is a quiet strength that God gives to those who come to Him honestly, without pretense or pressure. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to have everything together. You are invited to come as you are, weary and uncertain, and to receive what you cannot create for yourself. This strength is not loud or overwhelming. It is soft and steady, supporting you in ways that feel almost unnoticeable at first, yet become deeply sustaining over time. As you begin to receive this strength, you may notice small changes within you. A sense of peace where there was once tension. A quiet hope where there was once discouragement. A willingness to take another step, even if it is small. These are signs that your soul is being renewed, not through force, but through gentle care. Nothing about this process needs to be rushed. Healing and restoration unfold in their own time, guided by a love that is patient and kind. It is important to remember that weariness does not mean failure. It does not mean that you have done something wrong or that you are not strong enough. It simply means that you have been carrying something heavy, and now it is time to rest. God does not expect you to keep going without pause. He invites you to lay your burdens down, even if only for a moment, and to trust that He will hold them with you. As you continue forward, allow yourself to return to this place of rest whenever you need it. You do not have to wait until you are completely exhausted. You can come to God in every moment, bringing both your strength and your weakness, your clarity and your confusion. He welcomes all of it, and He meets you with a presence that is constant and unchanging. And in that presence, you will find that your soul begins to breathe again. The heaviness may not disappear immediately, but it will begin to lift, little by little, as you continue to rest in Him. You will find that you are able to keep going, not because everything has been resolved, but because you are no longer carrying everything alone. So take a gentle pause today. Let your heart rest, even if just for a moment. Allow yourself to receive the strength that God is offering you right now, quietly and freely. And as you do, trust that this strength will carry you forward, not with pressure or urgency, but with a steady and peaceful endurance that grows deeper with each step you take. There are seasons when everything feels unclear, when thoughts seem tangled, and the way forward is hidden behind layers of uncertainty. In these moments, confusion can feel heavy, almost like a quiet fog that settles over your mind and heart. You may try to make sense of everything, searching for clarity, replaying situations, and hoping for a sudden understanding that brings peace. Yet often, clarity does not come all at once. Instead, God offers something gentler in the midst of confusion, not immediate answers, but light enough for the next step. This light is not always obvious. It does not always remove every question or reveal the entire path ahead. Instead, it comes softly, guiding you just enough to move forward without overwhelming you. It may appear as a small sense of peace in the middle of uncertainty, or a quiet knowing that you are not alone. Sometimes, it is simply the strength to take one more step, even when you are not sure where it will lead. This is how God often works, not by illuminating everything at once, but by giving you what you need for this moment. When you are surrounded by confusion, it is easy to feel as though you are doing something wrong, as though you should already have the answers. But confusion is not a failure. It is often a natural part of growth, a space where old understandings are being reshaped and new ones are slowly forming. In this space, you are learning to rely not on your own certainty, but on God's steady presence. You are learning to trust even when things do not make immediate sense. There is also a quiet invitation within confusion to slow down. When everything feels unclear, rushing often only adds to the noise. But when you allow yourself to pause, to breathe, and to sit gently with what you do not yet understand, something begins to shift. The pressure to figure everything out starts to soften, and in its place, there is a growing openness. This openness creates room for God's light to enter, not as a sudden revelation, but as a gentle unfolding. You may not notice it right away, but even now, there are small moments of clarity appearing within your journey. They may come through a word that resonates deeply, a feeling of peace that arrives unexpectedly, or a quiet sense that you are being guided in a certain direction. These moments are like small lights along a path, each one leading you a little further forward. They may not seem like much on their own, but together, they create a way through the confusion. It is important to remember that you are not meant to navigate this alone. God is present with you in every moment of uncertainty, even when you cannot feel Him clearly. His guidance does not depend on your ability to understand everything. It flows from His love, which remains constant regardless of your circumstances. Even in confusion, you are being led, gently and faithfully. As you continue through this season, allow yourself to trust the small lights rather than waiting for complete clarity. Take the next step that feels right, even if it is small. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need enough light for where you are right now. And as you move forward, more light will come. Not all at once, but in the perfect timing that matches your journey. There is also a quiet peace that begins to grow when you accept that not everything needs to be understood immediately. This peace does not come from having all the answers, but from trusting that answers will come in time. It allows you to rest even in the middle of uncertainty, to breathe without pressure, and to move forward without fear. So today, let yourself rest in this gentle truth. Even in confusion, there is light. It may be soft, it may be subtle, but it is there, guiding you step by step. You are not walking in darkness without direction. You are walking with a light that is perfectly suited to your journey, one that will continue to guide you, gently and faithfully, until clarity begins to unfold. There comes a moment in every journey where striving begins to feel unnecessary, where the constant effort to understand, to fix, and to control slowly gives way to something softer. It is here that you are gently invited to rest, not because everything is resolved, but because you are held within a love that does not depend on your circumstances. God's love is not something you earn through clarity or strength. It is constant, steady, and present even in your most uncertain moments. When you feel lost, this love becomes a quiet place where your soul can finally exhale. Resting in God's love does not mean that all your questions disappear. It means that your questions no longer carry the same weight. They no longer define your peace. Instead, you begin to realize that even without all the answers, you are still safe, still guided, and still deeply cared for. This realization does not always come suddenly. It grows gently, like a calm awareness that settles over your heart, reminding you that you do not need to have everything figured out in order to be at peace. Sometimes, the hardest part of resting is allowing yourself to stop striving. You may feel as though you need to keep searching, keep thinking, or keep trying in order to find your way. But God's love invites you into a different rhythm, one that is not driven by urgency, but by trust. In this rhythm, you are allowed to pause. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to simply be, without the pressure to solve everything at once. As you begin to rest, you may notice a gentle shift within you. The tension that once filled your thoughts starts to soften. The fear that once felt overwhelming begins to lose its hold. In its place, there is a quiet peace that does not come from understanding everything, but from knowing that you are not alone. This peace is not loud or dramatic. It is steady and enduring, a calm presence that remains even when your circumstances have not yet changed. God's love is not distant or conditional. It does not come and go based on how you feel or how clearly you see your path. It is constant, surrounding you even now, even in the moments when you feel uncertain or lost. You may not always feel it strongly, but it is there, holding you in ways that go beyond what you can perceive. This love is the foundation beneath your journey, steady and unchanging, no matter where you are or what you are facing. There is also a quiet healing that takes place when you allow yourself to rest in this love. The parts of you that have felt strained or overwhelmed begin to recover. The pressure you have been carrying starts to lift. You begin to realize that you do not need to carry everything on your own. God is not asking you to navigate life alone. He is walking with you, guiding you, and holding you every step of the way. In this place of rest, you are reminded of a simple but powerful truth. You are enough, not because you have all the answers, but because you are loved. This love does not wait for you to become stronger or more certain. It meets you exactly where you are, offering you peace in the middle of uncertainty and comfort in the middle of confusion. As you continue forward, carry this awareness with you. When you feel overwhelmed, return to this place of rest. When your thoughts begin to race, pause and remember that you are held. You do not need to rush. You do not need to have everything figured out. You only need to remain open to the love that is already surrounding you. And in that love, you will find a quiet strength, a gentle peace, and a steady hope that will carry you through whatever lies ahead. Even when the path is unclear, you can rest, knowing that you are not alone, and that you are being guided with care, compassion, and an unfailing love that will never leave you. As you come to the end of this quiet journey, take a gentle moment to breathe and notice how far your heart has come. You may still have questions, and the path ahead may not yet be fully clear, but something within you has softened. There is a quiet strength now, a deeper awareness that you are not alone, even in your most uncertain moments. God has been with you through every step, through every doubt, and through every silent prayer you have carried within your heart. Hold on to this truth as you move forward. You are guided, even when you cannot see. You are held, even when you feel unsure. And you are loved, not because of your understanding, but because of who God is. Let this love be your resting place, your steady ground when everything else feels unsteady. When you feel lost again, and there may be moments when you do, return gently to prayer. You do not need perfect words. Just come as you are, with honesty and openness, and trust that God hears you. He always does. Let us close with a quiet prayer. Dear God, thank you for staying with me even when I could not see clearly. Thank you for your patience, your presence, and your unfailing love. Guide my steps as I move forward, and help me to trust you more each day. When I feel lost, remind me that I am never alone. Fill my heart with peace and lead me gently in your way. If this message has brought you comfort, carry it with you and share it with someone who may need the same gentle reminder today. Amen.